I say morning. It's actually really late in the afternoon now. But good morning. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham D. And I'm joined by the man that we call...
Bibby? That's me. Good afternoon.
I was debating. Do I go Bibby? Do I go Bibby? And I just went Bibby.
You haven't got voice mod to be able to try and juice it up, jazz it up a little bit. There you go. No voice mod required.
Voice mod. Anyway, enough of that. Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. As mentioned, I'm Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads in true ice creamy fashion. This is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, if we do say so ourselves. And we do. We go live each and every single weekday at twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads at 10 a.m.
Occasionally.
We go live every day-ish, at 10 a.m.-ish.
I looked at the thingy before, and I think December 14th was the last time we did a scoop.
Did you not do did you not do one on your own, like early?
Oh, we said 3 weeks ago, so yeah, it would have been very, very early January. Yeah. It might have been the Tuesday we came back.
You did one, and then I was like, I've not got the time for this, so I'm not going to be able to do it. And then it was a case of, actually, do you know what? You've not got the time either. Yeah. So we just went, never mind.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, we aim to go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish, but we do work in the video games industry, and as this weekend showed, we do have a number of different projects that we're ongoing with. Some for the channel that you will see, like the Royale Rumble.
Each and every day, 2 years ago.
Bored. No comment, Lake. So we do work on events like that. We do things for other people. We've got events outside the offices and stuff. We bring you the content on the channel when we can. But don't worry if you don't catch it live. We do turn the content from a live stream on Twitch. If you are in the chat, please do feel free to get involved, because we turn the live stream into a podcast, a video on YouTube and an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud and Google Play. There is lots of places where over, I can't remember what the last stat was. It was like 160, 170.
Yeah, I haven't done a scrape of the scoop for maybe 2 or 3 months, so it could well be like 170 now, maybe even 200. But
do you know what? Where 200,000 people have watched and listened to this podcast on demand. So if you are in the stream, please do feel free to get involved. We have 5 or 6, I think it's 5 stories to jump through over, let's say, the next hour or so, but the next 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to jump through 5 stories. If you've got any feedback, any comments, do feel free to get involved on behalf of the beautiful people that do watch and listen on demand. Before we jump into those stories, though, let me give you a couple of reminders about the beautiful people that not only support our channel each and every single day, but absolutely smashed that level of support on the weekend. Astro provided headsets for the stream. You can use code ICECREAM to save yourself 10% at Astro. Insert Coin gave us some prizes for the stream. You can see how this is going. Do feel free to use, I think it's ICU22 or Ice Cream 22. I can't quite remember on that
23.
one. 23, there you go, for a 20% off at Insert Coin. GT Mega, use code ICU for 5% off at checkout. And shout out to Twitch as well, who gave us front page placement in 2 territories, which is why we absolutely smashed it on the weekend. So make sure you go check out those beautiful people. Most of them have links, particularly when we're at home, but in the studio we need to update that stuff. But exclamation mark chair for GT Mega, exclamation mark, I think Astro for Astro. Do you know what? Astro and Insert Coin might not have links either, so I'll just leave it there. When I'm at home, you can use the links.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I'll tell you an even easier way. Exclamation mark Discord, go into there, and then we have stream support area in there that has all of our links to our affiliates and extra discounts and shit like that.
Yeah, there's a whole like links and discount codes kind of thing stuff in there. So
if you want to save some money, that is the best way to do it.
Nice. Do you want to find out what stories we're talking about today?
Do you know what, Graham? I would love to find out what stories we've got today.
Well, apparently Dead Space has decimated nothing, but Callisto has decimated Dead Space.
Love that. So you could say there is Dead Space in the Dead Space. I absolutely love Dead Space, by the way.
Breaking all the protocols. Protocol.
Oh, nice work, Graham.
Nice. So yeah, despite Callisto Protocol not being exactly what people thought it would be, and Dead Space being amazing, this is the title from Tom Ivan at VGC. Dead Space's UK physical launch week sales are less than half of Callisto Protocol's. Wow.
In a world of video games, there is a lot of phrases that get put around, but I think the word damning is very appropriate for this one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. We won't jump through that just yet. What we will do is give you a roundup of what we're going to talk about. Activision Blizzard, a.k.a. Microsoft. I mean, that's pretty much what we're going to say. The Exec claims that The Last of Us success, as in the TV program, proves that Sony dominates the market.
Where are those straws?
I know. It's just like, hey, that TV program. Okay, nice.
Did Tito write that?
Coffee dough.
Coffee dough, yeah.
Nice. Sticking with PlayStation for Tito, coffee dough. Jumping from that story, Sony's new PS5 ad could be teasing Uncharted 5. I need to give you the link for that one. It's in the article.
I've got it.
Nice. Then sticking with PlayStation, because Tito loves it, coffee dough.
Sony scoop.
Although this has actually evolved a little bit over the course of the day, because the title says, sources, Nintendo and PlayStation will not attend E3 2023. That has been extended to include Microsoft too. Ooh. I don't know if it's in this article, but there are rumours that Microsoft won't be at E3 as well. So, I mean, if it's not in the article, we won't go over that the Microsoft bit, but I have seen that being mentioned on social media today. And then finally, the day before, which is my most anticipated game for the last 2 years, isn't fucking real. Yeah. No, maybe isn't. That's just a full recap over the last 6 weeks of content that we've not been able to bring you. But the day before Dev insists the zombie MMO is not a scam following the latest delay.
That's exactly what a scam would say.
The owner of a scam says that its scam is not a scam. I mean, I hope it's not. I genuinely hope it's not a scam. I genuinely hope it's not. But it is a... We'll come to that.
It's a shit State of Decay, if you ask me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean,
State of Decay is wicked.
It's
no one's used wicked since about 2000, have they? I've just brought it back. Why did that come into my head? It is wicked.
Nice one, Dad.
Oh yeah. I'm still cool. I have a Nokia.
It's not even State of Decay. It's like Decayed State. It's just look at the state. Anyway. First story is not that one, but Bibby has gone full screen and said, but I can't go to Bibby until he's gone full screen, but he's been there for ages, so never mind. Let's go over. Okay.
It's been a while. We're out of whack.
Yeah, we definitely are, because I'm there we go.
Oh, no.
I was looking for this. Although, I want to stop for a second, because when you were streaming, like, one of the last streams before Christmas, and he was like, Graham's not here, I know he'll appreciate this. And I was sat there at home watching it, going, I fucking appreciate this! So, yeah, just going to move us over to, oh, shit, fucking back over there!
He's got it nailed down.
Oh, fuck, I thought we were going off the screen.
Yeah, okay. Fuck's sake. It's so believable.
Nice. It's so real. Star Trek.
It's so real.
Tom Ivan at VGC said Dead Space's UK physical launch week sales are less than half of Callisto Protocol's. EA's remake topped last week's software sales chart, while Forspoken debuted at number 4. Ooh. Physical sales of Electronic Arts' Dead Space remake during its launch week in the UK were less than half of the Callisto Protocols. That's according to data published by... I'm knackered from all that.
Yeah.
That's according to data published by GamesIndustry.biz, which notes there are several caveats that should be considered when comparing the performances of the two horror games. The Callisto Protocol, which is the brainchild of Dead Space creator and Striking Distance CEO Glenn Schofield, was released in December during the busy holiday shopping season and had an average selling price of £47 compared to Dead Space's £63. There we go. Dead Space was only released for 3 platforms: PS5, Xbox Series X and S, while the Callisto Protocol was released for 5, as it's also available for PS4 and Xbox One. And in a notable promotion, players who pre-ordered Dead Space via Steam received a free copy of Dead Space 2 upon release. Stronger comparisons between the performance of the games will be able to be drawn once digital sales data is also made available. It was recently claimed that Callisto Protocol hadn't met publisher craft and sales expectations, with the game failing to recoup a reported $162 million budget, although this hasn't been officially confirmed. Dead Space comfortably topped last week's UK physical software chart, with 80% of sales on PS5 and the remainder on the inferior Xbox. FIFA 23, coffee dough. FIFA 23 and God of War Ragnarok were non-movers at number 2 and 3. We can leave it there, I suppose. Yeah. Thoughts, babe?
Sorry, just had a bit of a cough there. I know I've got a bit clickbaity with the title on this one, because that's the information that we had. It is even though nowadays it is a digital-led world, let's be honest, a lot of people aren't buying physical games anymore. I am one of the few that still love a good physical game. I believe that there is a bigger conversation about this. Bringing my favourite IP into the conversation here.
PUBG?
Begins with R and ends in Resident Evil.
PUBG Resident Evil?
Yes, that's it. So Resident Evil, obviously, have brought out remakes of their second and third game. Hugely popular, second being a lot more popular than the third one. But they were priced accordingly. They was priced at, you could pick it up on release for about 35 to 40 quid. Which I think is a very, very good price point for a remake of a game. When I say a remake, it genuinely was taking the script and rewriting it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of elements of the original games in there, some exclusions in the third one, but the second one, the Remake 2 is now my favourite ever game. It eclipsed the original Resident Evil 2, so that shows how obviously popular that game was. But it was priced accordingly. It was priced between 35 and 40 pounds. Now, Dead Space have remade their first game as a reboot, and unfortunately, they've gone to nearly £70, and I feel like that's played a massive part in it. You could probably pick it up a little bit cheaper if you was going to buy it physically, because I don't know, it blows my mind that it's actually cheaper to buy a physical version of the game than the digital one, but I imagine it's like the corner shop kind of thing. You're paying for convenience at this moment in time, rather than the distribution of the discs, the printing, and then the boxes and the shelf space and whatever else may come with it. But I feel like that's the bigger conversation out of this. Callisto Protocol, from what I've heard of that game, it's a fantastic game. The same with Dead Space. They both have some problems within that. Like, I've seen a lot of videos of Dead Space's PC port where you could be flying at 100 frames and then suddenly you get into a corridor and it drops down to 20%. It drops down to 20 frames. We've seen that in a lot of games straight off the bat as soon as it gets released. So I'm not worried that game's going to not hold up in a year's time. I reckon it'll probably it will play a hell of a lot better than what it does now. But I feel like there is a bigger conversation to be had about remakes of games. There's a game at the moment, I want to say it's called Hi-Fi Flux or something like that.
The Xbox One.
Yeah, and people have been fucking booting off about that game because it's only 11 hours, I think, and people are going, why am I paying this amount
40 quid
for an 11-hour game? But that's perfectly acceptable. It's priced accordingly. The standard price for video games nowadays is £70. So the fact that a game is overwhelmingly positive according to Steam and what people have played of it, they're absolutely loving the game. £40 for an 11-hour experience. I feel like that's absolutely fine if the experience is great.
The thing with that what does anyone know the name of it? I always Hi-Fi something, Hi-Fi Rush or something like that. I don't know.
Hi-Fi Rush. That sounds better.
But it's free on Xbox Game Pass. But it's paid for, like, on Steam kind of thing, and your price comparison. We're obviously not speaking about Forspoken, which made it to number 4 in the charts last week. Forspoken came out at 70 quid. That Hi-Fi Rush or whatever it's called came out at 40 quid and was free on Xbox. Which one of those games? One of them's free on Xbox, and the other one. You had to pay for on PC. The other one, you just paid for everywhere. Which one made it into the top 10 on Steam? Hi-Fi Rush did. I mean, that's because Forspoken was 70 quid. It's not necessarily...
It is Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, it's not Flux.
Nice.
Well, there we go. Hi-Fi Rush. 10 out of 10 on Steam.
5 out of 5.
An enemy, 90% Metacritic. Like, how can people begrudge paying £40 for... Just because it's 11 hours, would they rather pay £70 for another 30 hours on top of the game for it to just be bloated out? That's my biggest criticism of video games nowadays.
The price on it as well. Steam, $29.99.
Yeah.
So I hate that conversation. What? I've got to spend 30 quid.
£27 for us.
For 27 quid for 11 hours of content. Well, you'll spend 27 quid for 2 hours at the cinema. So, yeah, all right. And you can play it again. It's not a case that when you got to the end of the film in the cinema, you can't go, can you just start it again? It's quite like that.
So, again, it's a much, much bigger conversation, much bigger than something that we're going to be able to talk about today. But are people happy with £1 an hour? Is that the standard that they would like?
I mean, if you're talking other content, people think £1 an hour is a steal. When it comes to video games, people think that £1 an hour is an absolute rip. It depends on who it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fully believe that there is scope for games to charge more. Some games can and should probably charge more for the amount of time, the amount of resources, like how cinematic.
In that case, then World of Warcraft and ESO should be paying through the arse for games like that.
And that's why you pay again and again and again through your expansions and things like that. But like, I don't have so much a problem with the high price point. I just feel it's the value scale. Like if that game came out with 11 hours of content and it was 70 quid, I still don't believe that's bad.
I don't.
Like, based on what it gives me. But a game coming out that's a 10 out of 10 that gives you 11 hours of content that's 27 quid that you can't, and free on Game Pass, you can't really fault that for me. But that's the thing. I saw some people drawing comparisons yesterday, and it's the guy that made, what's that Football Story? Is it Football Story?
Soccer Story.
Soccer Story. The guy, one of the devs on that was tweeting yesterday or the night before. I was reading, scrolling through Twitter while I was out in the garden for Milo's evening poo, as you do, dad dog and that. And one of the tweets he put is like, people are getting angry that Hi-Fi Rush is like ranking in charts and stuff, but it's making more money at 40 quid for because for like it was like for every pound that you have to make to get sales. I think it's something like Steam charts are calculated based on sales as opposed to the number of sales or something like that. Whatever, I might be ballsing this up, but a 27 quid game needs to sell 3 of them to earn the same as a 70 quid game.
Yeah.
It's just straightforward maths in that sort of sense. But the 27 quid games are being more profitable to developers than your 70 quid games. So is it really fair justifying the £70 price tag? It is what he was saying, which is a good thought provoker. It's a flawed statement because some 70 quid games could not be made for 27 quid. But it's just one of those things, isn't it, where it's like...
well, it's a budget game with... this is going to sound horrendous, and I really don't mean it like this, but it's a budget game made on a budget shoestring from I don't want to say a budget studio or anything like that, but it's getting AAA reviews, and that is the best scenario for them to be able to have, because it's a game that is getting reviewed. This is bigger than their wildest dreams, I imagine. With the way that people have been going on about it, and it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and it's 5 out of 5 from NME, 90% Metacritic. That is outrageous. I imagine anything over 70%, they're probably like, do you know what? 7 out of 10 is not a bad game. 7 out of 10 is standard, your industry standard game. It's okay. It's a very good game. There's minimal flaws in it. It hasn't got that many bugs, or you can get through. You can have a good time with it. But to have a game that's 9 out of 10 for £27 and you're getting like 11 hours worth of content out of it, that is outrageous.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you though, like Dead Space being decimated by Callisto. Is it because Callisto's a better game? Is it because it was multi-format? Is it because it costs 47 quid? £16 cheaper, so 1/3 cheaper. No, 1/4 should I say cheaper than Dead Space, which came in at 63 quid. Is it the fact that it's 25% off the price of it? I mean, it could be. It could be.
I think it's because the people have played it before. I feel like that's like Callisto Protocol is a new experience. It's pretty much Dead Space, let's be honest.
And that's like, I'm pretty sure that's like not a 10, 15-hour game. I could be wrong.
It's not a slant on them for taking the Dead Space formula and just expanding on it.
It's the guy that made it, so do what you do best.
Exactly, and people are extremely happy with that. They wanted a new experience, to go for Callisto Protocol. If I only had £70 to spend on a game, I'd probably go for Callisto Protocol because I've played Dead Space before.
Also, you've got 70-ish quid to spend. You can spend it on Dead Space and get 63 quid, so you've got 7 quid back. Or you could spend it on almost, you'd have to add another couple of quid to it, but you could get Dead Space and Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a difficult conversation to have because everyone's opinion will be completely different on that, and their opinion will suit their narrative, which is absolutely fine, because the only person that's going to be playing that video game with your hard-earned money is probably going to be you.
Yeah.
So your opinion on it is absolutely fine. Like, mine's probably going to be completely different to yours and to the guys that are watching here, but that's absolutely fine because you're the guys that are going to be playing it. But having a game like this, I mean, we're basing this off of physical sales. We don't know the digital sales of this yet. But still, from my perspective, I feel like a game that's being remade, and I think that's why Resident Evil did so well, is because they made theirs not necessarily a budget title. It was a double A price point rather than a triple A price point, and not a budget £27 title. Like, it's all of your favourite things about Resident Evil, but we've just put a fresh lick of paint on it. We changed the buttons round. We've got a new perspective.
We don't need to pay for script writers. We don't need all sorts of stuff. We know where we're going with the creation of the levels in the world and stuff, so it makes it much easier. So the amount of, not necessarily the amount of level artists will be lower, but the amount of time that they will need will be lower, because they've got an actual working model to work off of, and the fact that we're making another remake afterwards, we can use a lot of the assets again. And
I feel like the Dead Space scenario it only appealed to the people who played Dead Space before. I don't think I've seen anyone play this within my timeline anyway that hasn't played the original before.
That's a profound statement in terms of that. I wouldn't have thought that, but now you've said that, I completely agree with that. I don't know anyone new to Dead Space that has played the new Dead Space. Everyone I know that has played Dead Space so far owned or loved the original Dead Space. I mean, rightly so as well. The original one was badass for all intents and purposes. Never played 2 or 3, and I didn't even finish 1, to be fair. I played bits of it, kind of thing. But badass even still. But yeah, it's not really brought anyone in. So I don't know. Maybe we've only got a small echo chamber. Maybe it is bigger, and maybe the digital sales are much more influential because EA has funds and can fund marketing campaigns that will have led to that. But at least in terms of physical sales, Callisto has not done badly there. Let me jump back through the comments then. The Day Before sounds like a prequel to The Day After Tomorrow, to which Sheila says, at this rate, they'll have to rename it The Day After the Next Millennia. Nice. Sam, welcome in, dude. Would be fun to see what the sales are for OG Dead Space, since why would anyone buy an updated version for full price? Do you know what? That's becoming a thing. And it's not for the gamers, in my opinion. Like we've just seen The Last of Us Part 1 come out at full price. Don't get me wrong. It's reskinning, updating The Last of Us, which had already been remastered, before it was remade, and giving it all the weapons and control schemes of The Last of Us Part 2. But that's not what they did it for. No other video game companies out there is going, do you know what? I mean, I'm saying this whilst I am wearing my Last of Us Joel shirt, by the way. This is from Insert Coin. Shout out to Insert Coin. There we go. This is the official Joel The Last of Us shirt I've had for about 10 years now. But I wonder if I can get this remade and remastered.
It cost you 70 quid.
So, yeah. No other game company out there is going, do you know what, can we remake it and remaster it and then put it out at full price? They're doing that because they knew they had an ace in the hole in HBO's TV series. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I don't feel like it's for its core audience. It's for them to get more of a core audience, to make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what they're after. That's the thing.
How much was it priced?
It was a full price £70.
Was it?
Game,
and there isn't that much change with it either, is there? It's not a remake. Like, again, I keep on bringing it up, but it's the best example I've got of a remake, which is was Resident 2. But it's not as if they changed the script and the way the game played. They just made it look better.
I think there was a few bits that they've added in, but no, it was basically they knew that the game was coming out. People, the TV series is coming out, people are going to go, how can I play this game? And then rather than going, do you have a PS4 or a PS5? Because if you've got the PS4, you can play this. If you've got a PS5, you can play your PS4 version on your PS5. But it's forward compatible, so it'll be fine. But it's not going to be a full PS5 game. Like, your mum and dad who've just seen the TV series are going to be like...
No idea.
What? So they just went, okay, yeah, this is the brand new PS5 version. It's great. So people got, okay, 70 quid, please. So I mean, it's a genius decision. They're going to make money off it. They are making money off it. And I saw a stat last week. The Part 1 sales went up by like 250%. Yeah. The Last of Us remastered sales went up like 300% though, which is like that's the game's going, okay, I want to play this again, but I only have 20 quid.
Well, if you've not already got in on the Last of Us Part 2, I think I'd seen it on like hot UK deals for like £6 from base.
Oh, I've got The Last of Us Part 2 installed, probably. Still not played it, but I will play it. Okay, keeping up, then we've got some catching up to do. Monster Hunter Worlds versus Monster Rise. I don't know, RPG. Worlds?
I have no idea. I tried to play a Monster Hunter game and I had no idea what I was doing. Turned it off after about an hour.
I looked at it when we were going to do some stuff for Capcom about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. and didn't get very far.
Yeah, I think if I needed to delve into it properly, I'd have to speak to Spike. He's like obsessed with that game. He's got tattoos and everything, hasn't he?
Achilles, there are other games besides PUBG. I didn't know.
Fair.
Sounds like me. Big news is, how did they release GoldenEye with not even an online multiplayer?
I did hear that. So on the Xbox, they haven't got online multiplayer. You can only play split screen, but on the Nintendo version of it, there is online multiplayer because they're using Nintendo's. Basically, they're emulating GoldenEye from the N64 onto the Switch, and therefore I don't know how they've managed to do it, but patching online multiplayer. But on Xbox, no online multiplayer, which I feel like a lot of people was super looking forward to doing.
I mean, that screams like a get it on PC and Parsec to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surely you must be able to. But then again, it's just because it's on Game Pass doesn't necessarily mean it's on Game Pass on PC yet. So I don't know.
No, it's not actually. It's only on Xbox and Nintendo.
I wouldn't pay 27 quid at the cinema. There's a reason I'm not being since I watched AVP Requiem. Yeah, I don't mean 27 quid per person. I'm meaning like most people are going to go to the cinema. Usually, not always. Obviously, you can go chill at the cinema on your own if you want. But I know for me, I would go with at least one other person, which you're looking at anywhere between £7 to £20 per ticket. So
I've been debating going to gigs on my own, because there are so many gigs that I would love to go to that Samantha would never be interested in, and music that my friends don't listen to. So I was like, do I really want? Because I missed out on going to Weezer like 4 years ago because I couldn't find anyone to go with me. Samantha was no interested in Weezer whatsoever, and then I missed him in Manchester playing at the Apollo, and I think I should have just fucking gone on my own. Like, when you go to the cinema, you don't talk to anybody else. When you go to gigs, very rare that you're talking to anyone else because you're fucking jumping up and down and singing the words or whatever. Like, these are experiences that I feel like I definitely should have done that at the time. So that is what I'm contemplating now.
You should have asked me and I'd have gone, no.
Absolutely not.
No, thanks, babe.
Weezer hasn't been relevant since 94.
To be fair, when you said Weezer, this is how much I know of Weezer. My brain went, Teenage Dirtbag? And then then my brain went, no.
You got Ash Pipe, right? So that's fantastic.
There was a second, if you watch it back, I'm probably there like...
Crazy blue screen.
Yeah. No, it's not that one. I know it's not that one. Still debating trying Callisto, says Brits. Brits? God damn.
That's an L.
See, that's it. It's because NA took the title away from EU this time. So I'm trying to make Blitz one of us.
Absolutely.
Congrats on the weekend, by the way, Blitz. Big shout out to Blitz in the chat. Blitz, 5 and friends. Go drop him a follow if you haven't done already. Won the PUBG Royal Rumble on the weekend. Woo! Spicy me the ball. But yeah, debating trying to play Callisto myself. I mean, it would go onto the pile of not PUBG shame that I...
But it is a crafting game, so you could...
Yeah, same. Call Crew, welcome in, dude. 2 days before the day after tomorrow. Exactly. Nice. GG's over the weekend. Let's go. Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah, when did we talk about that one? There's a blast from the past. Monster Hunter.
Jesus, that's a very good point.
Yeah, credit to all Blitz. Credit all to Blitz 5 and Friends. Is a legend with his content and emotes. Let's go. I usually go with me and myself. Exactly, nothing wrong with that. Hope you're doing well, bruv. Bibby, there's a website now where you can find people to go to gigs with.
I feel like I don't know. Like, I've got no problems in meeting new people.
Is it called Hire a Murderer?
That was my immediate thought. Like, I'm quite good with people. Like, I can have a conversation with pretty much anyone. But do I want to spend an extended period of time with someone that I don't know that's only going to the same concert that I am for the sake of music? I don't think so.
It's that Highway Snatcher from Something About Mary. That's what it is. Like the dude that's like, was it 7-minute abs or 8-minute abs? Did you know what? I've got an idea that's going to blow right out of the water. 7-minute abs. And it's like, what if someone comes out with 6 minutes abs? And he's like, it's like, that's the person you'd end up going to a gig
absolutely, with. Yeah. I don't think it. I'd enjoy it less. I think if that's the first time that I've met someone, I feel like you'd be caught up in asking how the day was and what do you do for work and stuff like that. Whereas realistically, I just want to have a beer and just fucking, I don't know, piss in a cup and throw it somewhere. Yeah. Like a Matt Cortina's gig.
Or dessert.
Or dessert, yeah.
Nice. I'm almost as old as Jeep Barnett. Do you know what? We mentioned that the other day.
We did, yeah. Because you texted me, didn't you? It's like Range Rover Fringe. Fucking Jeep Barnet.
Oh, it's almost as old Jeep. Yeah, same, nice. Okay, that's enough of that story. We are going to jump into the next one, although we're going to start to pick up the pace a little bit now. This next story we have effectively covered a few times before. It's nothing new, but it's worth going over again because it's hit the news again, and it's extremely relevant with what we've been talking about recently. So we did talk about video game successors, and the people at Microsoft, and it's not actually Microsoft, not yet, not if the FTC or the EU or anyone else is looking at this. It's not Microsoft yet, but it is Activision Blizzard. Joshua Robertson at The Gamer says Activision Blizzard exec claims The Last of Us success proves Sony dominates the market. Might want to go back to the drawing board with this one.
Absolutely.
Says the tagline. So HBO's The Last of Us is slowly becoming one of the best video game adaptations ever, with episode 3, which aired last week, proving to be quite the emotional rollercoaster for a lot of viewers. One such viewer was Activision Blizzard EVP and CCO Lulu Cheng Meservey, who has wasted no time using the show's increasing popularity to argue on why Microsoft's acquisition of the company should be allowed to go ahead. According to Meservey, the popularity and success of The Last of Us proves that Activision Blizzard deal won't suppress competition in the industry, like Sony argues. She also claims that the unrivaled war chest of IP that Sony owns and can use to create TV shows and movies to market existing games proves that Sony is continuing to dominate the market, dominate as the market leader for consoles. Is it worth noting? No, it's worth noting that Meservey seems to have completely forgotten about the war chest of IP that Microsoft has also, which it has used to make TV shows in the past. You might recall the first season of Paramount's Halo TV show aired last year, a series based on a similarly massive franchise like The Last of Us. It's also being pointed out that Last of Us is a Sony-created IP, which is a little different to Microsoft buying up third-party titles from companies like Activision Blizzard and removing them from rival platforms. Additionally, claiming that Sony has market dominance because it can put out a successful TV show or movie is definitely an argument full of holes. For starters, that logic would suggest that Sega also has market dominance, considering both of its Sonic the Hedgehog movies are a couple of the best-performing video game adaptations of all time. Nice try, Activision, but you might want to go back to the drawing board with this one. It's a swing
and a huge bloody miss.
And a big old miss. I mean, good point. What Lulu Cheng Meservey is basically saying is, can we get bought by Microsoft, please? Can you just stop talking about it now? Mate.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned the Halo TV show airing last year, which I don't think has the kind of fanfare and is falling a little bit short of what The Last of Us is doing.
Just a tad. I mean, we've got Paramount stuff free through Sky, and I've gone on, it's basically just like Disney Plus and everything else. You go on, add to watch list, and I still haven't watched the Halo stuff.
It's, again, the straws are 110% being clutched at this one. It's not really dirty tactics, it's just, I don't know, I feel like they've made themselves look a bit daft with this. Unless it was absolutely tongue-in-cheek and we have completely missed the point of the humour with this. But I also feel like they're not joking. They are trying to push through. Look, what they're doing over there is way bigger than anything that we could ever put out. So there really shouldn't be any blockades, shouldn't be any obstructions, but it's falling way short. I mean, people are pointing and laughing. We're pointing and laughing now, thinking this is absolute bollocks. Like,
It's someone saying something, trying to pass something else. New sub. West is gifting a tub to Ice Cream Uploads community. A tub, nice. A sub to the Sunshine. Welcome in, Sonny. Another captain from the Rumble being gifted by the co-host from the Rumble.
Yeah.
He smashed it, didn't
he? Yeah. He did.
West.
I mean, I feel like the show got better in the second half when he changed into the jacket. When he changed into that jacket, I feel like it got taken up another level.
I appreciate his flex though, the fact that he let people think it wasn't happening. And then pow,
showmanship.
What a guy!
Gagad's here. Hey, Gagad, how you doing, Shagger?
I'll read. I mean, I don't know why, but I've not, for some reason, not seen Gagad for ages.
I haven't seen him for a long time.
I mean, some may say it's our fault for not making regular content throughout the last month, but I'm going to say it's entirely his fault.
I agree.
Shocking.
Outrageous.
Shocking behaviour. Basically, Lulu Cheng has said something. massively flawed statement about The Last of Us and TV and Sony and PlayStation and Microsoft and all that sort of stuff, and just passed off ridiculous sentiment, not thinking that anyone's going to pick mega holes in it. It is a silly statement that didn't even need to be made. She could have just gone, do you know what, this is a badass TV show, and left it at that. Westlake did say no spoilers from the third episode. Don't worry, we got you.
Yeah, we ain't going to do that.
I mean, we don't even give spoilers from the first game, which is 72 generations old now, or whatever. 72 formats old. We've got the remaster and the remake, and the remake of the remaster that's been remade. So, yeah, we ain't going to give you any spoilers. I mean, once you've all watched episode number 3, do feel free to hit me up, because I have comments. The only comment that I will say that is not a spoiler, because it was just widely known, is a lot of people said that the first episode was great. The second episode has some great bits in it too, but the third episode is great as well, but like for different ways and stuff. And you're like, oh, okay. Do you know what? I'm not even going to say that. Yeah, whatever. I'll talk to me afterwards. Nice. When the jacket goes on, his alter ego comes out. Hugh Westner. Yeah. Ice Cream Stand was the best green screen. Do you know what? We've had that made up for ages. Also, shout out to our design team, because how good was the uploads bit on that ice cream stand? Because you go to any ice cream stand in Dinoland and none of them say uploads, which PUBG, if you do want to change that. We don't even have to talk a revenue split. You can keep it all. Just get ICU in there. That's
agreed.
All. For the boys. Do it for the boys and the girls. So nice. So yeah, the design team did a really good job of making that ice cream shack into an ice cream upload shack, and it's flawless, beautiful. Regular? You mean any? Yeah, that too. I watched the first episode, then decided to wait and binge watch them all.
I haven't watched any episodes yet, but I'm waiting. It's on the list.
After having The Last of Us Part 2 spoiled for me, no way. I'm just watching every episode as quick as I can. It comes out at 2 o'clock in the morning. We watch it about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening kind of thing. So I watched it last night with Danielle. Yeah. Okay, we're going to move ahead because we are very, very rapidly running out of time. We're not going to go into the videos on this one because it does have some video content within it. We'll leave you guys to watch that because we don't necessarily have the time to make that jump. But Chris Scullion at VGC says Sony's new PS5 ad could be teasing Uncharted 5. So a brief, mysterious clip in a game montage could show a key character from the games. A new Sony ad designed to promote the PS5 could be teasing Uncharted 5. The new promo, titled Live from PS5, features a series of live-action news reports reenacting scenes from various PlayStation games, including God of War, Horizon, Gran Turismo, and more. However, among all the clips from the current and upcoming PS5 games, one live-action clip stands out as being unrecognizable. It shows a young woman in a cave with a flaming torch. In a separate brief clip, she can be seen blowing dust off an ancient artifact. The clips are the only shots that aren't immediately recognizable, suggesting they may be from an unannounced project. In a blog article introducing the ad, Sony said, quote, "This new spot hints at the breadth of extraordinary experiences taking place in the PS5 universe throughout the style of a live news channel. See if you can spot all the game references." I'm going to stop there because it then jumps into Uncharted 4 spoiler warning.
I just had to scroll up then because I didn't see that bit.
It's a very... yeah, if you're reading this as we're going through, you'll have seen it yourself, so you could have self-edited for that bit. But yeah, basically it gives you the ending of Uncharted 4. We won't go through that. I mean, no doubt a lot of people have probably done that by now. It's quite a few years old, but the same way we won't spoil The Last of Us, Uncharted is a very good story. So yeah, there you go. But one thing that we can say without spoiling Uncharted is obviously Nathan Drake is not a young woman.
Right, yeah.
So having someone doing Uncharted-esque things, almost Tomb Raider-like, in an Uncharted fashion, but it not being Uncharted because it's not Nathan Drake, could be, is that the future of Uncharted? Interesting.
I feel like it's untapped revenue again at this moment in time. Like I did read on Twitter somewhere that they was thinking of rebooting the Lara Croft films again. I know they did one in 2018, but they was looking at redoing it again because does Indiana Jones film come out this year at some point?
Yeah,
a new one. So it feel like there's an untapped market in there. Indiana Jones is massive. I mean, I don't know how good this film's going to be because surely is about 90 in this.
Yeah, he looks 90 in this as well. And there's all sorts of like references that I feel like ages it unnecessarily in terms of like Indiana Jones is like guy with a hat and a whip. But then he's got a whip, and then people have got guns, and it's just like,
yeah. So I feel like the like an explorer. What do they call it?
like
not Tomb Raider, obviously, but what do they call it?
I know. I know.
An adventurer,
yeah,
a treasure hunter.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an untapped market in there for something like this to come back out again, and having it from maybe a different perspective from a female character. Why not? Like, they can definitely build a new story out of it. Maybe having Uncharted 5 isn't the way to go. Having it as part of the name series, I feel like they should have it as Uncharted and then whatever title it could be. So it's in the same universe, but it's not a...
Yeah. I feel like Uncharted 5 works if it has significance to Nathan Drake and the happenings of 1, 2, 3, and 4. If it's someone else that's a treasure hunter, like Lara Croft's next game is not going to be Uncharted, even though it's very similar. If it's someone doing similar thing in the same world, then Uncharted whatever.
Yeah.
Uncharted the new Explorer.
Yeah,
or
like
something
the name of the game, an Uncharted story or something like that,
like the Solo Star Wars story.
Yeah, something like that, because I feel like that would be so much. It wouldn't necessarily put it into the timeline of. I feel like if you put Uncharted 5 onto this, it's probably not going to do that well because it's a completely different narrative than the Nathan Drake story so far. So, yeah, I feel like there's definitely a game in there for them. Whether or not it's a new Tomb Raider game or a new Uncharted game, I feel like within the next 2 years, there's definitely a slot there for one of those types of games. But yeah, I can see it. There's been stuff happening in London, hasn't there? Like the Kratos' axe.
Yeah, that's
is in the middle of
the Leviathan axe is in the ad as like so when they say in the live from PS5, it's like let's go live to the scene, and the Leviathan axe is featured as part of that campaign kind of thing.
So that's cool. Yeah, as I said, they've definitely got some good material to be able to use here. Whether or not they use it in an Uncharted setting, I don't know, but in my personal opinion, as someone who hasn't really got that much of an affinity with the Uncharted series, it's a game franchise that I would like to go and actually play, but I think it's setting up for a fail if they just go Uncharted 5 and then it's a completely different storyline.
Well, I can have a conversation with you where I think this will go, but I can't do that without spoiling Uncharted 4, so I will save that conversation. Yeah. Anyone that does read the article, you'll see what the article kind of has the angle that I would go with it as well. So feel free to read that and then hit me up in the direct messages in the Discords or using the spoiler function in the Discord. Don't just post stuff because, spoilers. Okay, on that bombshell, we'll jump into... if I can do it. Yeah, one final story. Do you know what? We do have a story about the day before, but ironically, we'll do it tomorrow, which is the day after. Nice.
I feel like we need to save this one, though, because this one, I have a lot to say about this.
Oh dear, I was going for the... Okay, we'll move this one then. Okay, so the one that we're not going to jump into is Nintendo and PlayStation will not attend E3 2023. Do you know what? It's actually probably good. I was going to run with it just because we'd had a bunch of Sony things.
There's a much bigger conversation with this.
Yeah, because obviously one of the things I said is that Microsoft might not be there as well.
Yeah.
That will have developed by tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, we'll jump into do you know what? We'll do the day after, the day before, the day... whatever.
At some point in the future.
We'll go into it. JMO, welcome in. Another good performer this weekend. Let's go. Oh, that's not full screen, babe.
Oh.
Skadush. There we go. Nice.
Sorry, I didn't think we'd go into it.
Oh, I thought we were going to go to... No, this one.
Oh.
Yeah,
I had the wrong one on.
I thought you was the lady. So yeah, we're saving that one tomorrow. I'll just run through this one now. So Matt Wales at Eurogamer says, and this one all came out last week, so you'll have probably seen this before. The day before dev insists zombie MMO is not a scam. Following latest delay for many members of our team, it is unpleasant to hear such accusations. This actually came out last week. I did read this article last week, but it's definitely worth sharing with you guys. So Developer Fantastic has rebuffed suggestions from increasingly vocal detractors that the day before it's now twice delayed and seldom seen open world zombie survival MMO is a scam, saying when the game comes out, people will finally see the truth. The day before was revealed back in 2021 with a striking trailer that helped propel it to the top of Steam's most wanted wishlisted games chart, and mine. Since then, though, its journey to release has been less than smooth. Its initial June 2022 release date was delayed by a year when Fantastic suddenly announced it was switching development to Unreal Engine 5 less than a month before its planned arrival. Then earlier this week, with just 2 months to go before its revised launch date, the developer pulled the game's Steam listing and announced another delay, pushing it its release back a further 9 months, this time blaming a trademark dispute. Throughout all this, very little has actually been seen of the day before, beyond its initial announcement trailer, a 13-minute gameplay video revealed several months later, and 59 seconds of additional gameplay at the start of this year, all of which has led to a rise in suggestions around the internet that the game may not even be in development at all. Fantastic has now pushed back against those suggestions, telling RGM time will put everything in its place, and when the game comes out, people will finally see the truth. We understand that some players, not seeing the whole picture, might have doubts about the game, it admitted. Our whole focus has always been on the product itself. We've been creating the game for 4 years. All these have been full of sweat and blood to make this game, and for many members of our team, it is unpleasant to hear such accusations. The studio also questioned how the day before could even be considered a scam, noting we didn't take a penny from people, no crowdfunding, no pre-orders, no donations. The game is fully funded by Mytona, which is the publisher, one of the largest mobile publishers in the world, who checked the game's build at every milestone per our contract. As for the strange circumstances surrounding its most recent delay to November, Fantastic said it was originally intending to announce a revised release date even before this week's news of a trademark dispute. It also claimed the announcement would have been accompanied by a new 10-minute gameplay trailer, but then you all know what happened. Do you know what? We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. It's an interesting one. Do you know what? There's a lot of reasons to believe that this is bullshit, and there's that was it Raw? I always forget what it's called. The one that I shared in the Discord when we're talking about it. That's the one that always comes to mind for me. Cyborg Angel, hey, how you doing?
Good afternoon.
Welcome in. It's been a while. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. We just mentioned about the Sniper Ghost Warrior prison bit on the stream for the first time in years, and the winner of the
sniper rifle.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, how you doing? Welcome in.
Good afternoon.
So yes, the day before, I can see why people might think it's fake, because Fantastic don't have anywhere near this level of development experience. The closest you can get is Prop Hunt, which is a scary game that came out Halloween-ish like last year, which is nowhere near this scale. Beyond that, it was smaller scale, almost mobile-sized games, a lot of which have been booted from their catalogue. You look at their website, and they've got rid of all of that stuff, and they've got Prop Hunt and the day before on there. None of the old stuff, which everyone goes, oh, well, that's a bit weird. That's a bit suspect. But maybe they're just trying to shake the mobile developer. If you're looking at developing something as drastic and as dramatic as the day before, and all people can see is mobile stuff, it asks questions.
I don't. It's not that. It comes down to me for not celebrating your wins. Like, those were popular to some people, but it seems to me that they're not very proud of those accomplishments then, because if you're a developer and you put a game out in the world, why would you not want to shout about it, even if it does bad? These are the games that I've worked on. I feel like removing them from their shelves is probably a bad idea, but for everything that's been said about this game, I don't believe that it's a scam.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we won't see something from it. I believe the expectation of this game has been, it's the same thing about the abandoned stuff, like the abandoned project that is seemingly now never going to happen. That got muddled in with the Hideo Kojima stuff, and that game then got propelled to something that was from way above anything that they would have ever expected. Then the expectations of the community were like, oh my god, this game's going to be amazing. And then it turned out that Hideo Kojima had nothing to do with the project.
Yeah, it's called Hakan something Karaman or something like that.
Yeah, Hassan Karaman. Yeah,
and HK Blue Box Games. PlayStations have blue boxes, therefore Hideo Kojima is owned by PlayStation. It's making a new game confirmed.
It's the internet made something out of nothing with that, and I feel like that had a very negative impact as to the production of that game. I feel like this is probably this is along those lines, not necessarily like it's all smoke and mirrors. I believe there is a game there. I believe that we will end up seeing something from it. It may not be what we want to see, but I do believe there is a lot of lies being told within their project as well. To delay a game because your copyright has been put into disrepute because you don't own the naming rights for it, to then delay it because of delaying the game. That's absolutely fine, because they might have needed to do that for whatever performance reason. But the gameplay elements that they was meant to show has now been shelved because it featured now untrademarked stuff within the game, which is probably a title slide that they could have got rid of.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, working title. That's all they needed to put.
Just kill Bill it. So when the bride says a name, my name is and it like covers her mouth up, and you're like, what was that? Just do that. Welcome to a game developed by, or even like welcome to, and then just have the day after.
Yeah, something
a completely different voiceover kind of thing.
Like
a game to be announced.
I feel like that's definitely added more fuel to the fire, but I don't know. I don't believe this game's a scam. I do believe we're going to see something from it, but I don't know what.
As cutthroat as saying, I believe they've lied. I don't believe that there is any lying in there. And there was all sorts of other things which I do feel are quite unfair. Like there was arguments about them using unpaid volunteers and stuff like that. And like, it's a small company that's probably had to rely on like volunteer contributors, which in the right circumstances is not a bad thing, as long as they're not predatory and ripping people off for paid work and this, that, and the other. If it's allowing people to get involved in the community and rewarding them in ways that they are appreciative of or whatever, that stuff can be great. That's the reason. That is what got me into the games industry. So I can't ever badmouth that sort of stuff. I worked with people that I still work for now that were receptive and caring and paid when stuff went too far. Like if what I'm requesting from you is over the top, so here's some money for it, kind of thing. If it's that sort of stuff, unpaid volunteers is fine. But their website, and they had to go back to it, is it was like a lost in translation thing. They call their entire team volunteers.
Yeah,
people that are on paid salaries are volunteers too, and that sort of stuff. You've got in-house paid volunteers and external volunteers and stuff like that. So for that sort of stuff, I feel like everything could be. It could be wrong, but I would be daft for myself, let alone everyone else, if I didn't look at this and think, well, this could be an absolute clusterfuck. It could be a piece of crap that never really sees the light of day, and if it does, it's probably not even worth seeing the light of day. But it could also be early access PUBG, but not meant to be. It could come out meant to look as good as it looks. When the stuff that you've seen previously looks like State of Decay meets The Division, meets The Last of Us, and they are all top tier games. This could come out with the aim of being that, but be, you're going to hear me saying for this, radical heights, like untextured walls and like dodgy player animations and stuff like that. But a great game.
The greatest battle royale that ever was. that game.
After PUBG, obviously. So, I mean, it could be that though. But PUBG started where Radical Heights started, and then got better and got better and got better. But it got better in the world's eye with the intention of that. If this game comes out and it's a bit shit, but they work with the community and build with it, it could be something massive.
But I know when it comes to video games, we're all very shoot at the hip. Like if it's shit on release, chances are people are not going to stick around. And if it's a game that's meant to be touted as a free-to-play game, live service game, whatever evolving world, that's very difficult for people to be able to go back into, because their first 3 or 4 hours with this game, if it doesn't hit and it doesn't have a world where you actually want to explore, there isn't anything for you to be able to do.
I can see this though, like just from the concept, the fact that the concept alone, and we've all seen so little of it, put it to the top of the Steam wishlist chart. I could see that being enough to just win the hearts and minds of people to give it the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 15th chance. And I think not everyone, a lot of people go, well, fuck that shit, I'm out. But then I think, like we always say, the No Man's Sky moment. This has enough of it there that it could develop a No Man's Sky moment for me.
But they haven't got a track record of delivery. I mean, Hello Games, I don't think did. I don't think they had any. They might have had some hits before, but I don't think they had anything as a ambitious is the word I'm looking for this. I think they start getting mostly negative, or what's the Steam rating where it's like negative? I think it's just negative, innit? If people are just, if all of those people, the most wish list game on Steam, go in and start giving it negative press, and they have like 50,000 downvotes, like that game won't last very long. Like Steam will probably want to wash their hands of it.
The thing is though, you can mobilize a market, and often like being the most negatively downvoted sort of thing is enough to fire the community that supports it to make it be lifted up. I mean, more often than not, it will kill it. But if it has enough about it, it could save it. It could also just be a walking clusterfuck. And it definitely has a lot of signposts that say that is very, very likely, or very possible, not necessarily likely. I hope it's not. I would say for anyone, though, like a lot of people last year, I was recommending Day Before Is the Game, that's the one that I'm looking forward to. It could be a letdown, but that's the one I'm looking forward to. Now, if people are asking me what I'm looking forward to now, I don't have that in that same conversation anymore. I don't mention it.
Go back in a...
But there's a lot of things there. Like Bluehole was a tiny little Korean developer that got one guy that had a concept of a game, and suddenly we had 10,000 people watching us play a game on the weekend because of one little developer over there that's now obviously evolved into Crafton. Off of the back of that, the expansion of that so fast. Like if you watch that Brendan Green documentary we've watched, spoke about it a few times, the ones on Jinx and stuff like that, and you'll see how they were like having to just buy servers as they were going to scale up. I can see that some of those signs with this, you don't tend to get that in today's world. I'm saying that like 5 years ago wasn't today's world, but you don't tend to get that stuff anymore. But I could see something like that falling through the net, which then starts to landing on our lap, should I say, which then starts to tie into the bits that have fallen through the net, like as if they didn't register their own trademark. I mean, if they're a tiny little company, it might be the most obvious thing in the world to a big company. They might have been like, we just assumed it'd be okay. And it's stupid, pretty much unforgivable, but when they're developers and a tight-knit team that are working on volunteer sort of stuff, then okay, you didn't do all of your due diligence there. But in that sort of stuff, that's where I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just something that was missed. The game is still going to be badass. Job's good. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. That said, rewinding it back, it could be an absolute disaster. It could be, and I'm not afraid to say that. We initially reached out to MyToner and Fantastic, the devs and the publishers, other way around, to see if we can get in with them early on, and we've got no what's the word I'm looking for? No ad, no spawn. There is no corporate relationship other than we get press releases emailed through, like every other person probably does. But I still have, I've got a little candle lit waiting for them. I'll hold a candle for them, and I hope it's good. But I have, over the last year, gone from being a game that I'm super hyped and shouting about to a game that I'm cautious, and I won't advise anyone else just off the cuff. What's going to be the best game of the year? I don't know. I'll find one. I've not got one for the year yet so far, but I'll find one. But it won't be that, because I'll be... okay, well, there's a lot now. Will it even be this year? We're in December. They're going to move it to next year.
I say it's in November, so it's a long time to be able to wait, and them would have been delayed 2.5 years by that point. So I don't know. There's a lot of red flags there.
Achilles in the chat says, wow, delay. It was due in March. Yep, end of the year now. So the other side of the year, unfortunately, sorry to bring the bad news to you, delayed until November as well, after being delayed 12 months for Switch to Unreal 5. Like, even that, like the Switch to Unreal 5, is that the PUBG adding servers in as they go sort of shit? We might as well get Unreal 5 now because it's already bigger than we expected. Or is that them lack of due diligence? Do you know what? We thought it'd been easy to switch to Unreal 5. Turns out an entirely new engine's completely... and if it is that could
Why will my wall textures work in Unreal 5?
But if it is that could be a simple thing, or it could be an absolute a sign of upcoming disaster kind of thing.
Who knows?
I've just seen the name Stretchy Jr. Mr. Stretch. That's my mate, Nathan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh, I Tweakle. I'll catch up. So mad over this. Removing their game history sounds dodgy. Like it or lump it, you are judged on your past as a company. Removing history makes it look like something to hide.
I agree with that.
See, I agree with the sentiment, but I don't think it's the only way that cookie crumbles in video games. A lot of people, and this is hugely stereotyping as well, and a lot of PC gamers will go, mobile games, fuck that. Even though mobile games are still not quite for me yet, but they are a world ahead of where they were 12, 24 months ago. And if they've released not only mobile games, but crap mobile games, I don't know if they were crap, I can't remember what they were, then that would be enough to turn people off. Just go, fuck it, from the wish list then. So I understand, because for a lot of people, appearances can be deceiving, and in that sort of sense. So to not have the question there is occasionally better than having the question there and having to answer it, kind of thing. So
I just need a paper toss too. I'll cut the rope 15 or whatever it was. Like, go old school. I'll get the toilet roll. Fucking dead fast.
That's how Bibby wipes his butt, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Total. Anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to go because Bibby's left 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
Yes, nice. Or option 3, it's an excuse to spin the scam a little longer. Yeah, possibly.
I agree with them. No monetary value has taken place, so how can they be scamming someone?
Like, if it was a scam, it would have been early adopters sign up. If you sign up now, either through Kickstarter or like early access, like PUBG, a lot of people that played PUBG spent less than 20 quid on it and got it in early access, 25 quid maybe, because they had heard about the rumours, the sounds, the reputations, the rumbling, and it only cost 25 quid as opposed to 70 quid, 60 quid when it comes out. I might as well get it now. I'm going to get it anyway. I might as well get it now and I can make early content and blah, 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 blah. If they were doing that sort of stuff, fair dues, but you can't opt into it yet. So it's a really bad business model for a scam.
Yeah. Have they got investors who injected cash, not necessarily customers saying that they're scamming?
I mean, I suppose that could be it. But
it won't. I don't think it'll be that far in development if that was, because they said that they've had to give a build at every single point, a milestone during the contract.
Publishers. So the way it works is, and not across the board. So I'm saying potentially, because I know from every publisher that we've worked with that is commissioning games from developers, you don't just go, here's a wedge of cash, let's see you at the end. Usually you will have roadmap milestones, and unless, like, you might get something where it falls down right at the end, where they've been going, oh, this is great, and they've given all the assurances that this is going to work on PS5, shout out to the Cyberpunks, and then they go, oh, but it didn't. That's where you default, like, right at the end. But this would be super early, so they will have to be submitting different bills, showing different content, having narrative meetings, and you'll be talking. I mean, the publisher will be funding marketing across multiple different time zones, so there'll be all sorts of conversations setting up with whatever Walmart is called in Australia. There'll be that sort of group, sort of conversation, and so on. So I would be surprised if my toner are throwing money at Fantastic without actually seeing progression in there. So, I mean, that's one of the things they did mention in there, but publishers, obviously it's their cash. They want back a game that's going to lose them a chunk of money. So, like JMK says, only time will tell. It will come out at some point. I mean, I hope it's a good one, because I can see it being a game of that theme that we could all smash and enjoy. And if it's not, it isn't. We just go again. But if it's not, someone else make one of those fucking games. Yeah. God damn. I'm just naturally suspicious. And it's not how I am, but it's a good way to be. We've had this conversation before. You're more suspicious than I am, whereas I'm a bit more accepting in that sort of sense. But both is good. Being suspicious stops you from being let down.
Absolutely.
Being super appreciative and this is going to be great means that you've got a longer way to fall when the letdown comes. So getting the middle ground is good. So I'm open to it, but I'm not, like I've said before, I'm always self-protective in that sort of sense. When the signs look like it's going to be shit, I start to dampen my expectations. Last year I was like, okay, day before, definitely the game that I'm most excited for. This year, definitely a game that I hope could be a game that I'm excited for now. So
at some point.
Yeah. Also, the gameplay reveal was an ad for their productivity software. I've not actually seen it, so I'll have to take your word for that one. Glass half empty or glass half full? I'm neither. Some fucker stole my glass. Nice. On that bombshell, we're going to wrap things up. Quick recap of what went over. Callisto Protocol outsold Dead Space by like 2-1 in the UK in physical sales. Not necessarily a global story, not necessarily touching on digital sales, but it did good shit. Activision Blizzard says because PlayStation transmits well to TVs that they should be able to sell themselves to Xbox, which is a weird crossover, but you do you. Labrador, thank you for the follow. Sony's new PS5 ad could be teasing a new Uncharted game. Is it Uncharted 5? Is it something else? We don't know. And the day before, Dev insists that they aren't a scam. Obviously, we're leaning into the memes. Scammers says that the scam's not a scam.
Skim.
But I hope it's not. I hope it's good. But do you know what? If it's not due out till November, we won't find anything out now until July, August, unless they get their fucking name change stuff sorted and put things out and blah, whatever. But we'll deal with that when it comes to it. For now, though, we're going to wrap things up. Stay where you are. We're going to pass the raid over to one of our friends so we can give on some love. We will be back, I say tomorrow. I assume, hopefully, tomorrow-ish. I know I have a call at 10 a.m, so we aren't going to be live at 10 a.m, but we will be live at 10 a.m-ish. Ish. But before that happens, Mr. Big Boy, you know what? Can you even remember this?
It's been a long time. Thank you very much for joining our show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to bring you this show back for our first scoop of the year. But if you want to help shape our show, there is 3 more opportunities for you to be able to do that this week. Gaga, not live at 10? No, absolutely not. If you want to join us on our Discord, there isn't a place in there for you. It just says The Scoop. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at some time tomorrow. Mr. Graham Day?
I think it probably will be, yeah, like 10 a.m.
Nah, never happening. Ish.
It's definitely not 10 a.m. I have a call at 10, so the earliest 11, but we'll see. The best way to get notified is to follow us on Twitch with notifications on. You get notified when we go live, or drop into the Discord or follow us on Twitter. All the links to all the stuff is in the chat because Coffee Dough is a lovely boy.
Legend.
Bye, says 12. All joking aside, it's great to see you guys back. It's great to see you.
Appreciate that.
You're a beautiful man.
Legend.
Should we go?
I think we should.
Okay, you better go on. Until next time,
stay frosty!